Uh, Welcome class 5 in your e-learning classes, and as we are continuing on the chapter solid liquids and gases up till the state and their changes, expansion, we have completed, and now we will talk about the contraction of the substances. Okay, so what is contraction of the matter? On cooling, substances contract to the size and decreases because the movement of the molecule become slower, they come closer to each other and they become started to contract. Suppose this is a liquid state and their molecules are far apart from each other. Then we will start to cool it. Then the molecular rearrange near to them and they will start to decreasing their size as well as they will become contract. So the molecules, when they come closer to each other, that state is called contraction state or contraction. Okay, and this is the liquid state where the spaces are there in between the molecules. But when they start to contract, so it is the expanded form. And when we will cool, it will start to contract. So this is the contraction. And when we will give the heat to this solid state, it will changes to expanded form, and it will, the molecules will become apart, started to getting spaces, and they will just apart from each other, and this state is called the expanded form. When we cool the substance, it will substances or the molecules will come closer to each other and they will form a rigid form of the substance or the matter, and this state is called contraction or contracted state. Okay, so this is a process called contraction. On cooling, a substance contract or decrease the size because the movement of the molecules decreases, they come close to one another and space between them decreases. So the spaces become decreases, they come close to each other and they form a solid form and they will become rigid in this space because there will be no spaces in between the molecules, so that means they come closer to each other and they form the solid state and they will form the rigid shape, and this is called the contraction. Okay, now that is why electrical cables do not appear loose in the winter. What happens in the summer season, you will see sometimes the poles are actually, if we see the electrical poles, and we will see the electrical poles and there are the cable wires, they are in the summer they swing like this. Have you seen it? They become started to hanging from their poles. Why they start to hanging? This is the expandation form, or you can say it is a expanded form. So what is expanded form? In summer, they get heat and they started to expand, molecules started to expand from each other and their length will increase, isn't it? In the summer, length increases. Length increases, so the wire or the wire which are just fixed in within the two poles, they start to hang because where they will go, because their poles are fixed, they are in a fixed places, and the wire which is made up of plastic covering, and inside the wire there is a metal. So due to the heat, they started to expand from each other, their molecules are getting apart from each other and they become hang. Okay, so this is the state. In summer they increased and hang, but just opposite in the winters. Winter, you will see in the winter the pole will become, you will see the wires which were hanging in the summer season, they again get tied on the pole. Why it happens? Because in the summer seasons they were molecules were getting apart from each other, they are having the spaces in between them. But in the winter season, again these molecules come closer to each other and their size become decreased. So it will become decrease the size. So So this size will become decreased and it will again tighten on the both pole, and you will see the wire is just tight on the pole. But in the summer it reverses, it becomes hands due to the expansion. Understood? So expansion means a thing or the matter become increased its size. Okay? And contraction means the molecules come close to each other, they will decrease in their size. So this is the difference between the contraction and expansion. Expansion means anything is increasing in the length or the height, and contraction means the molecules are coming close to each other and they are becoming decreasing in the size. Understood? Now there is another concept, we will go for that, that is the physical and a chemical change. So what is the physical and a chemical change? If we will see, when the change occurs in the shape, size, color and state of the matter is called the physical change. When anything is kept, suppose you are keeping ice cubes, okay, and these are changing. That means they are due to absorption of the heat, they become changes into liquid state. That means they are changing their state. Suppose we are taking a ice cube and on heat it changes into water. Okay, so we will see it changes into water. Now that means the stage is changed. That means solid changes into liquid by heat, isn't it? We are giving heat, it is absorbing the heat and it changes into water. It is a solid state and this state is changes into liquid state. So this is the state we are getting. So the state changes, isn't it? So the state is changing, solid state changes into liquid state. But this is permanent state? No. Because if we'll keep this water, if we'll cool this water again in a tray, it will again changes into ice. Okay. So by cooling it, it again changes into ice. So this kind of changes, where you are seeing the shape is changed and the state is changed, and this type of change is not permanent, they are temporary change. This type of changes are called physical changes, where there is no formation of new substances. Okay, so only the state is changing, the state of the matter is changing, it is a temporary change, its size is changes, maybe the color of the substance become changed, but as a whole the initial substance is changed. That means on reverses the condition, we will get back the same thing. As we are just heating the ice, we are getting, by absorbing the heat, ice changes into water. But when we are cooling again, we are just removing the heat and we are cooling again the water, it again changes into the ice. So reversing the condition, we are again getting the substance. So these all kind of changes are called physical change. Understood? So what they are giving, it is a temporary change and generally reversible. Reversible means ice can change into water and water again by heat changes into steam. So it is a temporary change. It is a temporary change where again water we can change into steam on heating, and by cooling it we can again change into liquid. So these all stages where the changes are reversible. Reversible means we are warming or we are providing the heat to ice, it changes into liquid, liquid again changes into water vapor. So when we are cooling the water vapor, again we can get the liquid. So it is a reverse change, isn't it? And when we are again cooling the water, it changes into ice. So it is also a temporary change. So this type of changes where the shape or the size or the color of the things being changed, but and state of the matter may be changed, color may be changed, size may be changed, and it is a temporary and reversible reaction. So these type of changes are called physical change. Okay. So physical change may occur due to heating and cooling. For example, when you heat a water, it changes into steam. On cooling steam, it changes into water again. Similarly, when you freeze the water, it changes into ice. And when we are just providing heat or taking it out from the freezer, it will again changes into solid. So on changing the conditions, reversing the condition, it will changes to its original substance. These type of changes are called physical change. Okay. Now we will move towards the chemical change. Even there are two more examples they have given. Stretching of rubber. If we are stretching a rubber, rubber is an elastic substance. When we are stretching the rubber, they are become stretched. And when we are just leaving the rubber band, then it comes again to closer to each other. It becomes again shorter in shape. So this is also a type of physical change. And few more examples we can take. If we cut the hair again regrew, isn't it? It will again get its length. Maybe it will take some time, but will again get its length. So it is also a physical change. Suppose you are switching on the light and then switching off the light. So when you are switching on the light, it is bulb is glowing. When we are switching off the light, it is again gone. So it is switch off. So this type of change is also the physical change, where the things or the original things or the conditions we can get back on reversing the condition. Reversing the condition means we are changing the condition as usual as before. So it is the reverse. Okay. Suppose reversing means once I am heating the substance, that means ice changes into water. Reversing means instead of heat we are cooling the substance. So we reverse the condition. Again we will get back the ice on cooling the water. Okay. So these are the reversible reactions we can say. So physical changes means the changes which change its shape, size or color, and it changes its state. It is a reversible reaction. And the last one is it is a very temporary reaction. And the finally we can say no new substance is formed during this chemical change and during this physical change. And what about the chemical change? Chemical change is just opposite to the physical change. When the matter changes altogether to form a new substance is called a chemical change. Here if we just reverses the condition, we will not get back the original thing. Okay, and this type of changes or this type of chemical reactions, we will not get back the original thing. Secondly, this type of changes are permanent changes. Once it is changed, that means we will not get back the thing whatever it was. Okay, and then the last thing is it is non-reversible change and permanent change, a new substance is formed. So what are the, if we see the total quality of the chemical change, when the matter changes altogether to form a new substance, that means it is forming a new substance. It is called a chemical change. It is a permanent change and generally irreversible. They are irreversible changes. For example, burning of paper. When we burn paper, it changes into completely new substances called the ash, and we cannot get back the paper back. Other example of the chemical change are making a chapati from the wheat flour, curding of the milk, etc. So now we will take an example. Okay, we are burning the paper. On heating or burning, we will burn the paper or the heat the paper, it will become burnt. It will changes into ash. Ash plus some gases we dissolve. So if we will reverse the action, suppose we will cool it. Is it you will get the paper? No. we will not get the paper when we will cool the ash. So it is an irreversible reaction. That means when we are reversing the condition, again we will not get back the paper. So it is an irreversible reaction. That means once the paper changes into ash, it will never come back to that part of the paper, never get back to the paper again once it will changes into ash. That means it is a permanent reaction. So once paper changes into ash, it will never get back to the paper. So it's a permanent change, it is an irreversible change, and completely new substance we have found. What is that? That is the we got the ash from the paper. So it is a permanent reaction, irreversible reaction, and the new substance are formed. So this type of changes, this type of chemical changes are called, what they are called? Chemical changes. We are taking another example. It will take another example. Suppose we are taking the example of milk. Okay. So on curdling of milk, or you can say we are curdling the milk or souring the milk. Curdling means when we are curdling the milk, milk changes into curd. When we are curdling means when we are providing the warmth to the milk and milk changes into curd, isn't it? So when we are curdling the milk, you know how to make the curd. Milk should be kept in a warm place, and we have to mix some amount of curd into the milk. So the bacteria will work on it, and they will just make the milk or changes the milk into curd. Curd means doi. Okay. So when the milk changes into curd, is it on cooling the curd can you get the milk? When we cool the curd, can we get the milk? No, we cannot get the milk on cooling the curd. Okay, so once the milk changes into curd, that means it is a permanent change. It's a permanent change. Secondly, it is irreversible in nature. That means you cannot get back the substance again. You cannot get back the milk again from the curd. So it is irreversible as well as permanent change, and here we are getting a new substance. It is a complete new substance we are found. Okay, so these are the changes. Milk is curdling, milk changes into the curd, and if we reverses the reaction, we cannot get back the milk. On reversing it, that means we are changing the condition. At first we were warming and we were providing the warmth to the milk, and next we are cooling the curd. If we will cool the curd, we will not get back the milk. So it is an irreversible reaction, as well as once the milk changes into the curd, this curd never changes into milk. So it is a permanent change, and the new substance we are getting, because in texture, in taste, in every aspect, in every character, curd is totally different from the milk. So it is a new substance we have formed, and that is curd. Understood? So this is a chemical change. Now we will compare both the changes. Okay. So if we will compare both the substances or the changes, so once we will write the physical change, and in another side we will write the chemical change. So what are the differences? First one is chemical change is a change in state, color or size. Whereas change in state, color or size, no new substance in the chemicals, chemical change, change in, and it is forming the complete new substance, or forming a complete new substance. Okay, the second, if we'll compare the second character to the physical change means a temporary change. Temporary change. And the chemical change means it is a permanent change. It is a permanent change. Now, you will see the third. It is reversible reaction. It is a reversible reaction, and this one is irreversible reaction. Okay. So, we will compare both the things. That means physical changes are the changes which change in the state, color or size. No new substance is formed. Whereas chemical change forming a complete new substance. Okay. Second change, it will see it is a temporary change. Physical change is a temporary change, whereas chemical change is a permanent change. And then third one is it is a reversible reaction, whereas it is a irreversible reaction. So these all are the differences between the chemical change and the physical change. Now we will write few of the examples of the physical change and the chemical change. So the examples are ice changes into water, and when we are reversing the reaction, again we will get back the ice from the water. That means ice, from ice we can get water by heating, and when we are getting the ice from the water, we have to cool the water. And this is the milk changes into milk on curdling. Milk on curdling changes into curd, and this curd you cannot change into milk again. So this is a permanent change, and this is a temporary change, where the state of the solid, that means ice being changes into the liquid state. Again we can get the solid state by cooling the water, and it is a reversible reaction. That means it will change the whatever the things we have provided them, it will change them, it will reverse them, we will get back the original thing again. But in the case of permanent change or the chemical change, we will not get back the original thing. Suppose you are burning the paper, ash cannot make the paper again. So it is an irreversible reaction. As well as when we are curdling the milk, it changes into the curd, and curd never get back the milk again. So we cannot get back the milk again from the curd, as well as we cannot get back the paper from the ash again. So these both are, or you can say both are the irreversible here a new substance is formed, that is curd and paper. But here we are getting the same substance, and there are some daily routine work is there which are based on the physical change. Suppose we are lightening the switching on the bulb, they are lightening, they are giving the light, and if they are switching off the light, that means they are giving again the flat, or they will become not giving the light. So reversing the conditions, we are getting the original thing. So this kind of thing is, or these type of changes are actually reversible changes, and these are the permanent changes. So you just write down this. And do you have any question regarding this physical change and the chemical change? So you can ask me. Do you have any questions? So you can write, you can send me. Yes, you can apply. If suppose you are melting the wax. Okay, who has asked me this? It's a good question. You can apply wax, actually giving the both kind of changes. What about the wax? When we are melting the wax, suppose we are heating the wax, it will melt. Okay. When we are heating the wax, it will become melt. Okay. But when we are burning the candles, that is also within the wick, the wax is there. So this wax changes when we are burning the wax. When we are heating the wax, it is a physical change, because the wax changes, or it will become melt, and again we can reform the wax, we will get the wax. But when we are burning the wax, just like in the candle, that time what happens? The wax changes into carbon dioxide and little bit of water vapor. So it is a chemical change. So burning of wax is different from the melting of wax. Clear? So when we are melting the wax, that is a physical change. But whenever we are burning the wax, that is a chemical change. Clear to you? Okay. Now any other question? That's all for today, and next day I will start question answers, but so be prepared with your copy, pencil and whatever. We will write at first the last long questions, last chapter's long question, then we will start it. Thank you.